Hello, co-journeyers, and welcome back to The Truth So Help Me Good. I am your host, Barbara Landry, and together we continue to explore some of the bigger questions about this journey we call life, with inspiration from my upcoming memoir, The Truth So Help Me Good. Welcome to episode 19. Although life is full of uncertainty, there are some things we can rely on, the most significant of which is that everything changes and nothing stays the same. Perhaps this is revealed most clearly in nature. With each season, we witness how new beginnings become transformed, moving through the cycle of birth, growth, and then a return to the earth, where the cycle is then repeated. You may remember that back in episode 1 in October of last year, I spoke about how fortunate I am to have my daughter, son-in-law, and granddaughter living nearby, having moved north from Nashville the previous July. Since that time, we have enjoyed a multitude of family gatherings, impromptu dinners, and countless precious moments. The value of the time spent together for the whole family is beyond measure. And now, the time has come for Liza, Gustavo, and Isadora to return back to Nashville, to return to their home, to return to their friends, to return to pursue career opportunities that hold great promise for growth. And for all those reasons, I am happy for them. For all those reasons, I am excited to witness their journey and all that the future holds. And at the same time, I am sad to see them go, feeling my resistance to this change and struggling to reconcile my joy with my sorrow. With change comes loss. I also told you in episode 1 about my elderly parents and the struggle I was having trying to manage their situation. This too was filled with feelings of resistance to what was happening and where things might be headed for them. I have recently noticed those feelings surfacing once again. One of the themes in my memoir is the sense that I had from a very early age that there was something bigger than me that guided me, protected me, and informed me. That although there were times when I could not see clearly how the challenges in my young life would ever be resolved, somehow they did. Even the ultimate exposure of my perpetrator and his expulsion from our family happened in a way I could never have imagined after years and years of trying to be believed. Someone or something watches over me, and I believe watches over all of us. I have also learned to pay attention. Most recently, I've begun to notice that my energy of resistance is in my way. How do I know this? Because I can feel it. I have noticed that when I am in the supermarket, I am either in someone's way or they are in mine. There is no flow. Just a choppy game of bumper cars where I feel like a ping pong ball bouncing from one thing to the next. I have fallen out of alignment with the great what is. I am not in the flow. My resistance to what is and to change has me swimming upstream, and the journey is exhausting. Buddhist teachings have a name for the constancy of change. It is called impermanence. Simply stated, nothing lasts forever, nothing stays the way it is, either here on earth and in the universe itself. It is always changing and transforming. We may experience this change as uncertainty, causing anxiety, fear, and a sense of loss. We may feel resistant to it. An obvious example is we may crave a permanent existence, and yet life creates an impermanent body. If we want to find inner peace, we can't spend our time railing against the natural law of change. This results in suffering. A beautiful example of how we see impermanence, which could be applied to anything, is the "be careful with my glass" example. Imagine you have an expensive set of wine glasses, and that whenever someone uses one, you are focused on the fact that you don't want it to break. But the reality is that you cannot prevent something that is breakable from breaking. Maybe it will not this time, but eventually the glass is going to break. It is the law of impermanence. And you can even take it one step further. Having the insight that the glass can't and won't last forever, perhaps we can see the broken glass within the unbroken glass. And in that way, we are experiencing the true reality of impermanence. It is this type of insight that leads to inner peace. We are no longer swimming upstream against the current of the reality of things. Last weekend, we packed up the camper and went to the Green River Music Festival in Greenfield, Mass. A tradition started by Tim's late Uncle John, and which we have been attending now for a number of years. This year was a special treat as Liza, Gustavo, Isadora, and my son and daughter-in-law, Jake and Melanie, all joined us there. But before we had even arrived, there had already been a shelter-in-place warning due to severe weather alerts. The weather forecast was all over the place. At times there would be sun, other times clouds, and it was also likely that there would be storms, more rain, and worse. One thing was certain: the weather would not stay the same. Due to the downpour, shortly after Tim and Gustavo set up the camper, by the time Liza, Isadora, and I arrived, there were huge puddles in front of our campsite. Within moments after arriving, Isadora had put on her rubber boots and was joyfully splashing in the puddles, as happy as she could be. She was fully in the moment, with what is, and not preoccupied by what may happen next. When it came time to listen to music, Isadora led the charge with the call, "Let's go see music!" Her enthusiasm and acceptance of the present moment was contagious. When Jake and Melanie arrived on the second day, there was more rain and crazy weather in the forecast. The first downpour started when we were watching a band, and the three of us sought shelter under an overhang on one of the buildings. At that point, it was pouring, and we were getting soaked even with umbrellas. I turned to Jake, who is the executive producer of this podcast, and told him that I was overdue on getting another podcast out, and asked him if he had any suggestions, to which he responded, "How about this moment, right here and right now?" And it was brilliant, because right there, right then, I became present to what was right in front of me, and it was beautiful. We made our way back to the camper as another shelter-in-place warning was issued. All of us piled in, and while the heavens continued to open with rain, we spent precious time together, laughing, playing games, and just being with one another. When the rain stopped, Isadora's puddles had become a small pond, and all the kids nearby our campsite gathered to wade and share in Isadora's bubble-making machine. Days later, Liza shared with me that she was so inspired by Isadora's wonder and excitement about every changing situation that arose during Green River that she wanted to approach her life the same way. Certainly, there was something that we all learned from Isadora's example. And so, my beloved co-journeyers, in some ways, I feel that I have come full circle from where I started 19 episodes ago. But the truth is that we are always moving forward. And although we may have experiences similar to those we have had in the past, we never experience them the same way, because we too are always changing. I want to thank you for joining me for season 1 of The Truth So Help Me Good. I'm going to take a short break for the summer, and in season 2, I look forward to bringing you more special guest interviews, exciting new content, and of course, continuing our exploration of some of the deeper questions about our shared human journey. I would like to end this episode with a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh on the subject of impermanence, and I quote, "The work of acknowledging everything in mindfulness leads us to a deeper view of what life is. It is very important to understand that impermanence is not a negative aspect of life. Impermanence is the very basis of life. If what exists were not impermanent, no life could continue. If a grain of corn were not impermanent, it could not become a corn plant. If a tiny child were not impermanent, she could not grow into an adult. Life is impermanent, but that does not mean that it is not worth living. It is precisely because of its impermanence that we value life so dearly. Therefore, we must know how to live each moment deeply and use it in a responsible way. If we are able to live the present moment completely, we will not feel regret later. We will know how to care for those who are close to us and how to bring them happiness. When we accept that all things are impermanent, we will not be incapacitated by suffering when things decay and die. We can remain peaceful and content in the face of continuity and change, prosperity and decline, success and failure." End quote. Thank you, co-journeyers, for listening. I look forward to being with you again soon. Take care and be well.